Welcome back. Spent a lot of time, I think, in the last couple of weeks talking about electric vehicles. I remember one day specifically because you may remember this too. The minister, Pierre Fitzgibbon, came on the show talking about the fact that, of course, you know by now, Quebec wants to see no cars after 2035, no new cars anyway, to be on the roads other than electric vehicles. And one of the other things, and we had discussed this at the time, and actually asked the minister this was, well, wait a sec, if by 2035, now consider that's only 12 years away, we have autonomous cars, right? Robot cars. They're all over the place. We're testing those. They're in San Francisco. And will those make things any better? And then, of course, we realized, and I brought this up because we were sitting and chatting about this and said, what's the difference if you don't drive your own car, but you have to still be in a car? It just happens to be driven by a robot. Won't we need just as many cars? How will that get any fewer cars off the road? The numbers would remain roughly the same. But that kind of goes around the question for today. The fact of the matter is, the sales of electric vehicles in this country, anyway, in Canada, continue to climb and climb and climb. In fact, electric vehicle sales up 10.5% in Canada in the last quarter, in the second quarter of this year. That is an all-time high. So we wanted to talk about it. Daniel Breton is President, CEO of Electric Mobility Canada. He's on the line right now. Daniel, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
My first question would be, when I see this, I thought I saw a story in the U.S. suggesting that, you know what, it looks like EV sales there have peaked. So the issue here has always been, great, I'd love to have an EV, but they're still too expensive. Is that still the case?
No, it's not. Actually, in June of 2023, EV sales surpassed 10% in the U.S. as well. So sales are going up in the U.S. They're going up in Quebec. And as you know, I mean, we hit record sales for the second quarter of 2023 for the whole of Canada, 10.5%. In Quebec, we're at 18.4%. And it's a growth, if you compare Q2 2022 to Q2 2023, of 65% year over year.
I guess my question after that would be, first of all, I asked you, are they still expensive? What's the cheapest you can get into an electric vehicle in Canada now, after all the rebates and everything else?
Well, I would say approximately $30,000. So it shows that you can get a base model electric car for basically the same price than a base model Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla. I actually looked at the data, and I don't know if you saw the average selling price for a new light-duty vehicle, whether a car, SUV, or pickup truck, in June of 2023, according to Auto Trader, we're at $64,000, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So when I saw this, I made some calculations, and actually there's more than 45 models that you can buy at a cheaper price than the average selling price of a new light-duty vehicle in Quebec.
Okay, but that's not a light-duty electric. That's just an electric car as opposed to like an SUV or a pickup or anything else, right?
Well, when we're talking light-duty, we're talking either car, SUV, minivan, or pickup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other issue, I guess, at least at the beginning of this, if you want to call it a revolution, the change with people wanting to buy EVs, you could walk into a showroom and they'd have a model on the floor, and then you'd order it and they'd tell you, what, it'll be here in 2 years. So where are we on that?
Well, it really depends on the manufacturer, because for some manufacturers, there's hardly any waiting list. So let's say you buy a Tesla, Ford, Polestar, and a few others. I mean, you can find them either on the lot or you can get them, I would say between a few weeks and a few months. For other manufacturers, it's a lot more complicated. So it can be a year, 2 years, and 3 years even.
Wow.
For some popular models. So it really depends on the brand, because let's face it, some manufacturers saw this coming, and some others are really, let's face it, cut with their pants up. so they didn't expect so much uptake in EV adoption across Canada, the U.S., and actually around the world.
Well, so let me go back to that point, because obviously it's one thing if you have to wait a few weeks or a month, and another if you have to wait, as you said, 2 years and maybe even longer than that. Is this because they're easier to get in one part of the world? Are we talking, from Asia, from North America? Which do you recommend for people who don't want to wait 3 years?
Well, I would say that if you don't want to wait 3 years, do some shopping, go and see some manufacturers, and some of them will have some vehicles on the lot, or, they'll be able to get them quickly. But some other manufacturers, Toyota, for instance, the waiting lists are really long. Hyundai, if you look at the Kona, you can get them normally between 6 months to a year. If you're looking for the Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, which are very popular, normally it's between a year and 3 years.
Wow.
So it really depends on the model because some of them are really very popular.
You know, it's funny as I hear you say that, I can't help but think, imagine you order one of these cars like that Hyundai Ioniq, I think is what it's called. And
Ioniq
you
5,
wait,
Ioniq
yeah,
6,
you wait your 2 years, you come back. Technology is changing so fast, and obviously even in EVs, you get a car 2 years from now, and suddenly the technology you thought was, groundbreaking then is now just run of the mill 2 years from now. I mean, that's a consideration, or should it be?
Well, yes and no, because, I mean, the new vehicles coming in, if you order a 2023, you might get a 2025, which won't be exactly the same car. So you won't get a 2023 2 years from now. I wanted to address one thing that you mentioned at the beginning of, this interview, is the fact that, the government of Quebec said by 2035, we have to stop selling electric cars. But it doesn't mean that
gas-powered cars.
I mean, we have to stop selling gas-powered cars. It doesn't mean that people won't be able to drive with their gas-powered car, though. It's not 100% electric fleet. It's 100% electric new vehicle sale.
Right. So you'll still, I mean, if you're driving a used car, obviously they're not going to make you get rid of your used cars, but you will not be able to buy a new gas-powered car in 2035.
Exactly.
Okay. The other question I guess I have with respect to how well EV sales continue to be, if it's not about money, is this about the rebates that governments are still offering? Because they're still fairly significant, right?
They are. They are up to $5,000 on the federal level, up to $7,000 at the Quebec level. But there's another rebate, or I would say tax deduction, which is very interesting for people who are self-employed or own a company. Let's say that you make $100,000 a year net. You want to buy a $50,000 electric car. You can get more than $15,000 back in tax deduction and GST and PST deduction, plus a $7,000 Quebec rebate. So for people who are self-employed, this is something that no one knows about, and it's been in effect for 4 years. You can get a huge discount for the purchase of an electric car if you're self-employed or own a company.
Wow, I'd never heard of that before. So on top of the rebate, provincially and federally, if you have a company,
no, it's either you take the $5,000 federally or you take the tax deduction.
Oh, I see.
Quebec,
okay.
It's the Quebec deduction. The Quebec rebate is up to $7,000. But if you go with the tax deduction, I'll give you an example. 3 years ago, that's what I did. I got $21,000 back from the federal side, plus $7,000 back from the Quebec side.
Wow.
It is huge, and people don't know about it.
But again, it's only if you are self-employed, if you have your own company. And is that level?
Exactly.
Does it matter how much you make? You said $100,000. Does it matter how much you make to buy that car?
If you make $50,000 net, you'll get about $12,000 to $15,000 back on the federal side, plus the $7,000 from the Quebec side. If you make more, you get even more of a tax deduction. But as a general rule, I would say $15,000 to $20,000 if you make $50,000 to $100,000 a year.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. I mean, if you had to pick a car now that you could get in a reasonable amount of time, so let's leave the Hyundais out of this for now, the Toyotas as well. What do you like at there as the best buy right now in an EV?
Well, if it's in an SUV, I would say Tesla Model Y is a very good car, and now it's admissible for both rebates. It's actually the best-selling light-duty vehicle now in the world. I would say it's a great car. If you're looking for a car, I mean, the Ioniq 6 is an amazing car, but you have to wait quite a bit for it. Other than that, I would say Mustang Mach-E are very good cars. And the base Toyota BZ4X, Chevy Bolt, you can't get them anymore. Polestar 2, amazing car.
Polestar is what company?
It's actually Polestar.
It's Polestar itself.
I would say it's a new division of Volvo.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the Mustang off there, so that's a Ford car. Any of the North American manufacturers producing anything now that you would recommend? I mean, something out there that's worth buying in electric?
Well, the issue is that, I mean, to me, one of the best deals on the market is the Chevrolet Bolt, but they will stop making them very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't get one. And we have no clue when people will be able to get their hands on a Chevy Equinox or a Chevy Silverado. So it's really hard for me to tell you that go and buy a GM because no one knows. Even the dealers don't know. Okay,
last question because we're running out of time. What about buying a used one, right? You don't want to lay out the money to buy a new one. Does it make sense to buy a used EV, and what should you look for if you are?
It depends because let's say you buy a used EV that's 2 or 3 years old. The prices are really high these days. The interest rates are even higher than if you buy new. And you only get a fraction of the rebate that you can get if you buy a new car. Let's say you buy brand new car, $12,000 rebate or the tax deduction.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy it used, you can't get the federal rebate, you can't get the tax deduction, and you can only get a fraction of the rebate from the federal government, from the Quebec government, which is, I think, $3,500 now. So all in all, you really have to make the calculations, but I would say that right now it's a better deal to wait and buy brand new.
Danielle Breton from Electric Mobility Canada. Danielle, thanks so much for the time. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.